My English 101 teacher would start every class last semester with the same exact line. Writing and rhetoric is all around you. Of course it was. We're at school. I write a paper almost every single week. Of course it's around me. I spend a majority of my time at school. So yeah, you're right. But it wasn't until my teacher said this for maybe the 20th time that I actually began to take notice that it was around me so much more than just in school. One thing that I spend a good amount of my time doing is playing D&D or Dungeons and Dragons. I play with a friend group and we meet every Sunday, or as often as we can, to play a campaign that we've been working on for quite some time now. It all started with my boyfriend and my brother. They're actually best friends and roommates. Another story for another time. It's weird, I know. But they wanted to start a campaign. Now, of course, when all of your friends are grouping together to do something, you're going to want to join in. It's peer pressure at its finest, but of course, I said yes. Regardless of why I ended up doing it, it's still one of my most favorite things to do today, and I'm really glad that I started doing it that day. It wasn't until I wanted to make a campaign on my own that I realized how much writing and rhetoric is actually involved. My older brother's birthday was coming up, and his girlfriend and I got together and we were like, hey, it would be really fun if we surprised everyone with a campaign, because we hadn't played in a while, and we thought it would be a good idea. You know, my older brother was the reason why we started playing D&D, so we were like, yes, this would be the most perfect thing to do for his birthday. So we sat down and we decided we would be these amazing dungeon masters and take these players on the best adventure they had been on yet. We made invitations out of old parchment paper, burnt the edges with matches. We wrote the invitations in fancy old-style calligraphy and even sealed them with wax stamps. We sent them out in at least a good month ahead in preparation so we could be prepared. We had prepared basically as much as we thought we could to make sure this would be the best night it could be. My boyfriend sat down to make his character for the game and started asking me questions like, what level do we need to be? Do you know if anyone else has taken the role of a ranger yet? Do you know how many of each character you're wanting? My brother's girlfriend and I looked at each other with probably the widest eyes either of us have ever had. We had written out this amazing, beautiful campaign. We had put so much time into it, but we hadn't even stopped to think about these things once. He kept going, asking about what level the monsters were, the types of obstacles we had created. We definitely hadn't thought about those things. We both loved playing the game so much, but we had never been in the situation where we were the ones writing the story and being the dungeon masters. So luckily, my boyfriend sat down with us and helped us plan out the finer details. We leveled the monsters, decided how and when we would ask the players to roll for perception checks when they got to certain obstacles, and we ended up pushing my brother's birthday night out a good couple weeks just to make sure we had everything ironed out that we need to. As we were covering our last minute bases, my English teacher would not leave my head. Writing and rhetoric is all around you was all I could hear. I hated this, but she was right. I obviously didn't realize the amount of hidden rhetoric that goes into creating a D&D campaign. The overwhelming sense of creativity and personalization that comes with the idea of D&D took hold of creating our campaign way more than I ever thought it could. Although there's so much freedom of where the game can go and what you can do, there still has to be finer structure and detail. The rhetoric of storytelling is also one of the biggest parts of D&D. The more compelling the story is, the more involved the players will be. When creating a D&D campaign, it's important to involve the characters as much as possible, asking them questions about their past or who they were before they became an adventurer. I found out that when you're a dungeon master, it's nice to look at the campaign you're writing as the hero's journey. It's your job to complete that journey for your players. When you're asking the beginning questions to the players, you can kind of see how far along the players are within the hero's journey, and that will assist you in completing it for them. Being able to run a smooth D&D campaign takes knowledge of the game itself, and it also takes a deep understanding of fantasy and adventure stories. You have to know when there should be action and fighting, but also when it's necessary for the players to shine without their weapons drawn. D&D is all about the story, where you choose to venture off with a group of friends. D&D will forever be one of my favorite activities. And don't forget, writing and rhetoric is all around you. Thank you.